all three
around
around
behind
behind
you.
That was all. There was all three of them right there.
Halfway to the finish.
Got you.
Nice.
This is hard, baby.
Reinforcements. You can win this.
An agent needs assistance. Vital signs critical.
Yeah. Go to the left and flank him, so we'll switch it up. I'll put the skill build back on.
That lazy death shit.
System malfunctioning.
I hit myself with a sticky bomb. Oh, y'all about to get it.
Striker drone detected.
Ah, damn it! I don't have my Oh, that's because I switched builds and it said you don't have all your stuff on. Okay.
Sit down.
Ooh.
Don't run up on me like that, dude. I said don't run up on me like that. I'll shoot your toes. Hey y'all, Be Righteous here. And yes, I have another build for you. What you thought? I was gonna stop? No sir. Because no matter what's going on, I'm always gonna take pleasure in creating builds. That's just what I love above everything that's in this game. So if that's something you're interested in, then you know what to do. I love to have you. Liberty Critical. It's not your standard pistol build, based on the talent that is. So many people think that because the talent caters to shields, then that's all it's good for. But no, the way I have this set up makes for an amazing combo between damage and survivability. So check me out, I'll show you what I got. Yes sir, Liberty Critical. I don't know why I slept on making a pistol build like this, but I'm glad I finally did it, man. This thing slaps and it's a really fun build to play. Pistols that are critted out hit so hard, I did not realize that. With the new way that the Liberty is, I thought it was only good for a shield, but nah. If you crit this thing out and implement this build, you're gonna see why it synergizes so well and why it hits so hard. You see what specialization I'm going with. Firewall is one of the best specializations to run with when you have a DPS build, hands down. I mean, maybe demolition is, but at the end of the day, it all boils down to your playstyle. So the primary, I don't really mess with this that much. I don't really use this at all as an urban NBR with NSYNC. If I pull it out, then I'm probably sitting back or something, but mainly I don't even use it. I just have it as a placeholder. The two weapons I do use are the Vector and the Liberty. And the Vector, I did not realize this thing hits so hard. With it having measured, the fire rate is 1200 RPM. Now that's super fast, okay? Even though you do negative 30% weapon damage with measured, it still shreds like crazy. So this is really good when people run up on you. You gotta reload your Liberty or something, whatever. It's really good for close quarter combat. I didn't actually think it would hit this hard, but knowing that now, I want to switch out my backpack for a Sokolov, but I want this to be tanky. I'm at 1.3 million armor, so I kind of don't want to mess that up. And Sokolov already comes as a weapon core, so I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. The Liberty exotic pistol. All right, so when you look at this talent, it makes you think that this is perfect for shield builds, and it is, but it's not only good for shield builds because they added something along with the shield repairing talent, which was weapon damage. So you don't have to have a shield in order to get this stack, right? As long as you hit the enemies in the body, it's gonna give you up to 30 stacks of weapon damage, each worth 2%. So if you max this out, you'll get 60%. Even if you hit them 5 times, that's still 10% weapon damage. And this synergizes with another talent I'm gonna show you that is actually better to me than Vigilance, because Vigilance is just not gonna be active when you're in the middle of combat. So let me show you what I got. If I'm running a pistol build, of course you want to run Punch Drunk. This gives you 20% headshot damage, and I rolled it to armor because, like I said, I want to be tanky. You're going to be running and gunning with this build, so you want to be in the middle of stuff, getting into things, getting into trouble, you know what I'm saying? So you want to have at least 1.3 million armor so you can tank all that. I got a Providence chest piece, and the 2-piece gives you critical hit chance and headshot damage. So with this, I'm hitting for 35% headshot damage with Punch Drunk in the first piece of Providence. It's pretty good. And of course, I want the second piece for that 10% critical hit chance. Obviously, the weapon damage here is trash, but I mean, what gear isn't trash when it drops, man? I don't know about y'all, but I really haven't seen much of a difference in RNG when you get gear to drop. It's pretty much the same, man. Like, you can get like really god roll attributes and then a trash weapon damage roll, or vice versa. So until I see a noticeable change, I think that stuff is just still going to be dropping like this. But I'm a farm for another chest piece so I can get more weapon damage. The talent is unbreakable, and when you're running a PvP, there are very little talents you can use. So until I find a talent that's worth using over unbreakable for my chest piece in PvP, this is my #1 go-to. I mean, I'd hate to say it, but unbreakable is just too good. You have the advantage over anybody who doesn't have it. You got 2 lives, they got 1. Simple as that. My second piece of Providence is the holster. As you can see on this build, it's called Liberty Critical. So what do you want to stack on the attributes? Crit chance, crit damage. Simple as that. Now this is the same backpack that I had on my Ravenous build and a few other builds, but the difference was I had Vigilance. Remember I said the Liberty talent is going to synergize with one of the talents that I use instead of Vigilance. This is it, Concussion. I mean, Concussion is great. I've been sleeping on it for a while, and I was always like, man, 15% instead of 25%, what am I going to do? But I realized that it's not only 15%, and with Vigilance, if you're in the middle of a fight, you're never going to have it active. You're just not. So I think Vigilance is better for like rifle builds and sniper builds where you're sitting back. Then you could really capitalize on the damage, unless you just want to sneak up on people and just annihilate them without them seeing you. But I want something that's sustainable in PvP so I can last in a fight, right? So if you didn't know, Concussion gives you 25% damage if you get a headshot kill. But if you land headshots, it gives you 10% damage just for landing them. Okay, if you look at the Liberty, right, you get weapon damage stacks when you hit them in the body. So let's say you hit somebody in the body 5 times. So that means you get 10% weapon damage once you hit them in the head and consume that buff. Okay, so if that headshot happens to be a headshot kill, then you get the concussion buff, which gives you another 15% weapon damage plus the 10% for hitting them in the head, just for using this in tandem with the Liberty. So the damage could be more based on how many times you stack this up. If you're running a crit build, you're always going to want to have one piece Grupo Sombra just for that 15%, man. You'll be losing out so much if you don't have that one piece Grupo. You need that to increase your critical hit damage, which is where most of your damage comes from. Now you see I got 3 blues and 3 reds. I think 1.3 million armor is the perfect place to be when you're playing PvP and in PvE. You notice I keep saying PvP, but right now I've noticed in Conflict and the DZ, more people are doing PvP because there's just not anything to do in PvE. People that I know that never even played PvP are trying it. And before, when the game was kind of popping, I wasn't able to get matches for a while. It'd be like 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 minutes in between before I could load up in a Conflict match. Now it's like instant. Everybody's in Conflict because there's nothing else to do. So the knee pads I'm rocking with is the Fox's Prayer. These knee pads are pretty much best in slot, man, for almost every build. I mean, they're just so good. Even though you're missing out on some crit, you don't want to miss out on that 8% damage to targets out of cover. Now, another reason why the Liberty is so good when critted out and used as like a straight damage build is because the Liberty also rolls with damage to targets out of cover, which I did not know until I started making this build. There are very few weapons that roll, exotics especially, that roll with damage to targets out of cover. Another one is the Ravenous that rolls with that. The Merciless rolls with crit. The Eagle Bearer rolls with headshot damage. So you'll be lucky to get an exotic that rolls with damage to targets out of cover. So you want to capitalize on that. And I did by using these Fox's Prayer, and you definitely could tell the difference. Hey, what do y'all think I should do though? You think I'm going a little bit too hard on the armor? You think I should just get a Sokolov backpack so I can increase the damage of my SMG? Let me know down in the comments what you think I should do, because it'll bring my armor down to 1.1 million if I do that. All right, yo, the skills. As you know, my last 3 builds I have run with the EMP sticky bomb. Now, it's just, I mean, with the way the meta is, when everybody's using those Crusader shields, I mean, it's the best thing to use against them. You shoot it at them, they stagger, they drop the shield, they're done for. Period. That's all I gotta say. I mean, I've talked about this EMP sticky bomb in all of my builds, man. And you know, if you've been following me, you know that. So it's pretty much cut and dry with this. I use this to counter and to help me be successful when I'm fighting against other people, because everybody's using shields. period. So the second skill I'm using is the Bulwark Shield. All right, so I'm using a pistol, so why not use this, right? Since I am running 3 armor cores, then I get a skill tier of 3, which makes this shield pretty tanky. It's above average, I must say. And if I get those Liberty stacks, then it's gonna be even more tanky. This shield is pretty much a bully. I mean, when you're fighting somebody and they pull their shield out, I jam their shield with my EMP sticky. And if they happen to get my armor down, I just pull this out, hitting for almost max crit damage and chance. I've done it so many times, and it's just really good for your survivability. I've always been a fan of the Bulwark Shield over all the shields, and honestly I wish they did something with this deflector shield. I mean, it has such great potential to be something, but it's just not. It's nothing. It doesn't do anything. Otherwise I would use it, but the Bulwark Shield is just such an intimidator, and when you pull it out, they just really don't know what to do. So this build is pretty much a running gun. I mean, if you crit out a pistol, the Liberty hits so hard. And let me tell you something about what's been going on lately. I know there's a lot of talk about this game being dry and everything like that, but the thing that I love about this game so much, even if there's nothing to do, is just theory crafting builds. I love making builds and talking about what builds to make. So during this time, it's allowed me to basically hone in and really look at different types of builds that I never thought of. Speaking of which, I got another one coming probably next week that's really unique, and you're gonna like it. You're gonna like it a lot. So just stay tuned. I mean, whatever's going on, I'm gonna keep dropping builds and content for y'all. And if you enjoyed this build, if you like this build, if it helped you out in any way, then I'd appreciate it if you drop a like and subscribe to my channel if you're new. Until I see you in my next video, be right out.